What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, taking a look at a deck that I've never looked at before. Something that I've always kind of wanted to. It's just such an old archetype, and that is Blackluster Soldier. More specifically, like the ritual support. So we'll take a look and see what happens. I'm playing against a Monarch deck, so this is a very, very casual deck. I don't know when these cards came out, but I know they've been out for a very long time, so I feel like I'm trying to pull this from the depths of just old Yu-Gi-Oh! And bring it into the modern day. And there's a few cool things that you can do, like the adventure token works really, really well with it because Super Soldier Synthesis, when you do Rite of Aramesir, gives you Fateful Adventure, and then you can search Griffin and pitch something. The ritual spell, Super Soldier Synthesis, which is really, really good because it lets you send one from deck, works really well with the deck because it brings, it can ritual summon from the graveyard, meaning that you can just pitch, the ritual monster and still not lose any advantage at all. Chaos Space also works really well, so there's these like Evening Night or Twilight Night cards, like from the archetype, that when they're banished from the graveyard, it lets you search either a ritual monster or a ritual spell. And that works out really well as kind of like an extender. And I can go ahead and pitch that back. Just being able to, he did have the Monarch lock, so you think that's like really bad against a lot of decks. Sometimes it can even win you the duel. But in my case, this is not an extra deck focused strategy at all. And, when you get it off, it's like pretty good. Now, you had to send a level 4 from hand and deck. So normally you want to send the 2 Knight cards of Blackluster Soldier to the graveyard because it gives you a whole bunch of effects. But you always want to send the Dark one because it lets you banish a card from your opponent's hand face down, which is obviously really good. So normally, this is a blind going second deck for sure. Like, it kind of just has to be. Which gives you an advantage, right? You get the extra draw off top. You can play a bunch of hand traps. And the adventure token's a really good engine for going second. And this looks, pretty decent. So for a while, I was running the original Blackluster Soldier because you can run it with pre-prep. I thought you could run pre-prep and search Super Soldier Synthesis, but you can only search the original Blackluster Soldier spell, and it's just like a vanilla that does absolutely nothing. So this deck does need one more ritual spell to go along with it because it'd be cool if you could, ritual summon twice. And if you could ritual summon by banishing 2 cards from the graveyard. That way you can send 2 off of Synthesis and then banish those same 2 and let you search and get more recursion. That obviously would just be really, really good. He's playing Kashtira, not the good version. Just Psychic and Punisher. Basically just plays into my hand, like really, really badly. But he's going to banish Wandering Griffin Rider. It's fine. Who cares? Fateful Adventure. Again, I can just pitch the Ritual Monster. Or, I guess in this case, I could search Water Enchantress, give myself a little bit of follow-up for next turn. Fateful Adventure, Draco back, and he's going to banish 3 cards from my graveyard. That's fine. There's nothing in there. This is not a graveyard-focused strategy. So I should have at least one of the effects. I think I have both, where I get to banish 2 monsters and banish a card from his hand. So again, once you get it off, it's really, really not bad. It's just unfortunate the Blackluster Soldier ritual monsters don't really do anything. Now, the new one searches from the hand instead of your draw phase, which is great because if your opponent ashes it, you still get your normal draw, which is huge because looking at something like the Malefic Field spell that lets you add 3 or show your opponent 3 and not, if they ash that, you don't get a draw. But in this case, they can still ash it and you still get the draw. Very important distinction. So my opponent sets a card, but it's not going to be enough. Every single turn, I get to banish 2 of his monsters and then banish a card from his hand, which is really good, obviously. It's not a bad effect. It gives you so much advantage. Yep, see one random card from your hand. Wandering Griffin Rider. And again, I was running pre-prep, but that was a mistake. This is one of early builds of this. Okay, so we'll just keep going along here. It's so funny when you play Albaz. It's so easy. It's just normally if you can just stop following the branded fusion, you just win the duel. And these are all in casual. Obviously, I would never be able to beat tier with this deck. It's really not too far off, though, from being an actually functioning archetype. You'd love to see... Because the cool thing is, Chaos Space can actually search these other Blackluster Soldier monsters. You can search the original Blackluster Soldier. And there's these other ones that can kind of, take cards out of your opponent's hands. It can banish another card. And for a while, I was going to say, can I play a hand loop version of this deck? But no, it doesn't really work out that well. But, yeah, just because you don't need your normal summon at all, again, there's a lot of it works out really well. And yeah, the baby dragons can, you know, banish the knights from the graveyard, and that can search you, which is really important. So this is like, I only have 2 forms of interaction here with Wandering Griffin Rider Effect Veiler, but I did set myself up really well, you know, with the white dragon, because like I said, this new one that's not out yet, it lets you add the ritual spell to your hand instead of your draw. So I already have like what I need. I'm gonna get the, you know, 1 banish from hand, 2 banishes of monsters, which is just great. I didn't realize that this was a contact fusion card with dragon monsters, so kind of funny. I tried to negate it with Effect Veiler, and I didn't know what happened, but yeah, there we go. Instead of my normal draw, I can grab Synthesis, which is what I would have drawn anyways, or would have wanted to. And then I can probably just, you know, bounce that back, go for it, and then, yeah, I don't even need it. Unfortunately, right, I have these 2 monster negates. And then I can even banish the black Dragon Collapse Serpent, you know, just to get myself a little bit more follow-up. So I'm sure, like, those cards will always be in there. It's just whether or not they can do anything with the rank 4s that would be, like, really important if there is new support that ever came out, which you would think there would be at some point. All right, yeah, you can run a lot of really cool cards, like, you can run a lot of really powerful cards in this deck. Like, I would love to see, you know, Gateway to Chaos be replaced. I think that would be really cool. Because it only searches the ritual monsters, and it's just, it's okay. It's definitely not bad, but that it's, you know, obviously ritual monsters don't just inherently do anything in your hand. And this is why it's a blind going second deck, because you always want to have this effect on the line. But my opponent forced me to go first in this case. So I'm going to set myself up with 1 negate and a lot of follow-up and hope for the best. It's pretty much how this is going to go. See what my opponent's playing. Hopefully it's enough to survive, right? I have a Battle Protected Adventure token plus a negate, so I don't think it's going to kill my life points necessarily. And he just normal summons White Stone Mage and passes. Very nice. Yeah, I do run Kaijus. Cool thing is again, if there's ever any good ritual Blackluster soldiers, because right now there just kind of isn't, that have like good effects on the field, you can do a lot of stuff. Like the Raiden is a level 7, and then you can send, you know, a light Effect Veiler from the graveyard. So if there ever is a good one to use, like, you know, that would be good synergy there. And then yeah, I do also run Ascended Sage. So I've run all copies of the combo, like 3 of each, and it's working every time. So you can still use Pot of Extravagance and also have access to this really powerful engine, which is a good thing. Now, I was able to use Chaos Gate this case and grab Super Soldier Synthesis. Now, I could summon this, but like I said, just having a vanilla 3000 attack Ritual Money on the board just doesn't do anything. It has this effect where it returns all cards of the hand, but you have to send a normal monster to the graveyard. It's like, who's running normal monsters anymore in 2022? So the effect is so lame. It was close to being a really good card, but just falls a little bit short. But, you know, I think I topped at Chaos Space, so then meaning I could send my Evening Twilight, meaning I can like banish a card from his hand and then banish a monster from his field, which, you know, finally I get that effect. But this might as well be the original. If they have one more ritual monster that can replace the field spell, you know, with a ritual monster that can also search like a ritual spell, that would obviously like kind of tie it all together. And then I just have like a few more replays here. I get a very good opening. You know, Seeing Rite of Aramasir, Pot of Extravagance. And when you see the ritual monster plus Pot of Extravagance, then you know like you're in such a good spot, right? Because you get to search during the draw phase, and then you get Pot of Extravagance, which is literally just Pot of Greed. He does have one form of interruption here. That's number 39, Hope Harbinger. Lets it go through. I thought for sure he would take it. But he's going to negate Rite of Aramasir. That is perfectly fine. I have so much that I can do. Super Synthesis. This is another card like Chaos Valkyria. Just lets you banish a little baby knights from the graveyard. It's kind of what I call them, right? So I can banish this. It's going to search me the ritual monster, giving myself like really good follow-up. Also, besides follow-up, I can also use it for this little engine here that I use. Again, very cool. Being able to use Pot of Extravagance and then also still being able to do like 2 really solid forms of interruption is just really, really good. I make my own Hope Harbinger, which is kind of funny. And I can go ahead and attack directly. I don't know what this back row is, obviously. And he's going to go ahead and draw here. I'm going to, you know, grab my other monster. So I have a Monster Pop and Hope Harbinger, which is not bad. Plus, he's got to get rid of this Blackluster Soldier, which is protected by battle because of number 99. And I guess number 4 is also kind of part of that. I think he's going to try to go for a rank 8 play, but of course I'm And seeing that he has no other cards, it's what I'm going to do. And his back row is probably a spell card or something, so Hope Harbinger is going to hit that. And I just kind of won that one. This is Dogmatica Ritual versus Blackluster Soldier Ritual, I guess. He goes first. Starts off with Dogmatica Calamity. That's going to search the Ritual Monster, White Zoa, which is very good, but it wouldn't really do anything against my deck other than give me less Pot of Extravagance targets. All right, 2 Pot of Extravagance, 2 Effect Veiler. Let's see what I get off the top. And the 3rd Pot of Extravagance. Very nice. I wish this one had the new effect because the art on this is so good, but it doesn't do anything. Like, it inflicts damage to your opponent. Like when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, and that's kind of like all it does, unfortunately. I think when it's destroyed, it searches or it summons a Gaia the Fierce Knight monster from the deck, but I have come through so many times in search of a decent effect for that, and it just doesn't exist. There are no good Gaia the Fierce Knight main deck monsters. They are all terrible. So maybe that comes along with the new wave of support. I'd kind of like to see that, because the Gaia the Fierce Knight stuff is also it's not like the fusion monsters aren't bad, but it's everything else that is so terrible. There's like no main deck engine for it at all. This is like the worst draws ever. I just draw into all the rituals and just keep drawing into this Pot of Extravagances and another copy of Effect Veiler. It's just kind of funny. But yeah, I can just bounce the Draco back into his hand, which is pretty funny. Again, no extra deck stuff, so Dogmatic Ecclesia definitely does not have that protection, that battle protection that it's used to. And I think the only thing I have to do is just stop him ritual summoning. So he's got 2 in his hand. I know he has basically 2 dead cards in his hand. So as long as I can stop the ritual summon, I pretty much win the duel, which is what happened there, which is pretty awesome. And I'll just show one more against Plunder Patrol. Kind of a pretty good opening, right? I'm not going to be able to go through my ritual stuff, but at the very least, this stuff is online. So we'll see if I can... We'll see what I can grab off the top. He's running Bestials, which actually helps me a lot. Like, I don't bring anything back from the graveyard, so if he wants to Bestial one of my night cards, then that just gives me advantage, which is great. He runs Ghost Ogre. Who runs Ghost Ogre anymore? But I guess it worked out for him. I kind of like this duel because it's not like I'm able to set up anything. I mean, I guess number 39 Utopia technically can stop attacks, but he had all these forms of interruption, you know, all these hand traps and stuff. I haven't put anything in the graveyard yet, so Plunder Patrol is offline. And he's going to Ash this, but it doesn't necessarily do anything because I still get my draw, and then I can just use the effective Gateway to Chaos. Like, I was able to eat a lot of interruption, and it didn't really do too much. Like, it hurt him way more. Like, it felt like he was just losing advantage over and over again. And I was just kind of, you know, continuing through. But yeah, that's my look at Blackluster Soldier. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.